Hi, Stacy, Kelsey, Susanna, Caroline, and Liam. Greetings from Peachtree City, Georgia. I'm Randy Pierce, and in 1986, I first met your husband and father, respectively, when I joined VP4 in Adak, Alaska. Prior to arriving in Adak, Mike Keating was one of the only names I knew in the squadron because he was assigned as my sponsor, who was an officer assigned to new members of a squadron to help myself and my wife Candy transition from California to Hawaii and get adapted to life in a fleet squadron. So I was excited to meet him when I got to Adak, and there's many things I discovered. First of all, nobody called Mike Keating Mike. He was ubiquitously known as Keats. He was ahead of his time, a one-name moniker. And shortly after I was there, I also discovered that we had a really great squadron, particularly the Junior Officer Corps. It was just a quality group of individuals that maintained a coolness and good attitude that was infectious. And nobody epitomized that more than Keats. So I wanted to be part of that. I wanted to emulate that attitude, that demeanor. So I had to pick up on some of his habits, and one of them is speaking his language, and he spoke the language of dudeness. And dudeness was using the word dude in speech as frequently as possible. It could be an adjective, it could be a noun, it could be a verb, depending on how it's used. And nobody did it quite like the master dude, Keats. Sometimes he'd come in and give you a quick dude as a greeting, or he'd give you the dude when you knew that he was upset with you about something. Very rarely, if he was frightened about something, for instance, Portuguese man of war spotting on Eva Beach, he'd come into your office and go, "Dude, did you hear what they saw on the beach?" And I just got such a kick out of that. Every now and then he'd be eating something and say it was doodalicious, which was always tasty. So that was the kind of pattern I had to try to pick up on, and I realized that nobody, including anybody else in the squadron, did it as well as Keats. And I kind of figured out later why. At that point in the mid to late 80s, we didn't have smartphones and tablets, but later when I was exposed to the world of emojis, I thought of Keats, because all you had to do was look at that big, beautiful face of his, and he could not keep any secrets. He was literally a human emoji. You knew exactly what he was feeling at all times, whether he was excited, happy, or in his words, a little bit bumming about something. You could read Keats like a book. He would not have made a good poker player. In fact, one of my memories that I enjoyed so much about that first deployment in Adak was playing spades with Keats. And there was a time that he and I were partners playing against two other guys in a BOQ room, and we were down to the end, and all the tricks were bid. Somebody was going to get set, and I was sweating it because I had three cards that weren't going to win anything. And I look over, and he's just got a giant grin on his face, and he couldn't help himself. And so I started grinning, and whoever we were playing with accused us of table talking, and not a word had been said. And they looked at Keats, and he was holding his cards like this, and all of a sudden he just moved this card to the top, and everybody knew he had the ace of spades, and we were going to win that trick. It was really one of the best moments of the deployment, something I'll never forget. So in closing, I'd like to propose a toast to Keats, and for this occasion I'm breaking out something I think that's appropriate. This is a bottle of Angel's Envy, and you'll notice it still has the seal on it. And I've got a couple of glasses that I want to save. And real quick shout out to the Sibs, who are a cantankerous pair of brothers. Between them and Keats, that could put a hurting on you when you try to hang with them on a night out. They have this sick game where when you're anywhere you're sitting, whatever you're doing, if you have a glass and somebody shouts a number and the word P behind it, you have to drink that percentage of what's in your glass. So it could be a 10p, a 50p, a 30p. So my proposal to Keats is, wherever you are, and I know it's a good place, I aspire to achieve that same thing down the road. And when I get there, we'll raise these 2 glasses, fill them up, and I'll leave it up to you, but I'm betting you'll make the 100p call. And I'm looking forward to that day. Keats, thank you so much for everything you've done for me and all the great memories. I so look forward to seeing you again. Take care, my friend. Dude.